Good morning, guys, and we are back with yet another set of multiple choice questions. Today, we'll be covering questions on internal controls, and we'll also be covering some questions on gathering evidence and procedures. But these are all again multiple choice questions. Let's uh, let's get our thought process in place and let's try to attempt this. And let's see how much time we take for each set. Okay, because in the exam, of course, we have to be efficient when it comes to time management as well, है ना? So, a couple of points that you need to keep in mind is how much time do you spend on each set? In my opinion, you should not spend more than 12 to 15 minutes on each set. 15 minutes is like the upper limit. हाँ? बिल्कुल 15 मिनट्स से ज्यादा एक सेकंड भी आपको स्पेंड नहीं करना है ना. Let's look at this. These are on internal controls. It is 1st of July 2005. You are an audit manager in Sandy and Co. and you are responsible for the audit of Coastal Co. for the year ended September 30. The internal control systems in relation to purchases and payroll have recently been documented by the audit junior. Tests of controls have been performed to evaluate the effectiveness of the system. The audit junior has used narrative notes and an internal control questionnaire to document the system. So what all has he used? He has used narrative note and internal control questionnaire to document. You are reviewing the work performed by the audit junior before assessing the impact on the audit approach to be taken in respect of purchases and payroll. The following features of the purchases and payroll systems have been noted in the audit junior's documentation. Goods are counted and agreed to the supplier's delivery note before signing the delivery note to accept the goods. The purchase invoice is matched to and filed with the related goods receipt note and purchase order by the purchase ledger team in the finance department. Payroll standing data files are sent to department managers on a monthly basis for review. Hours worked are entered into a pre-printed payroll sheet by the wages clerk. Hours before payroll payments are made, the finance director reviews the bank transfer list and signs to authorize the payments to be made. Select which of the following advantages and disadvantages relate to narrative notes, internal control questionnaires, or both. ठीक है. Narrative notes tell me what can be prepared in advance. I don't think narrative notes can be prepared in advance. उसके लिए तो आपको बात करना पड़ेगा, right? You will have to talk to the team and then understand, and then you will prepare the narrative notes. Questionnaire can be prepared in advance, right? What is easy to understand? I guess both are easy to understand. May overstate controls, and some controls may be missed. Quite possible that some controls are missed, be it narrative notes or be it the internal control questionnaire, and may overstate the control. See, internal control questionnaires are basically prepared with, with a standard idea in mind, right? They are prepared in advance, and they will make sure that multiple situations are covered कि सारे जो भी possible scenarios है from a general perspective वो सारे कुछ they will include. Now management, what might happen unfortunately is that they may overstate the control. They may over by doing what? By saying that they have the controls listed where in fact they don't. अब क्या होता है, in a questionnaire you have 50 points, right? Now, it is when you write 50 points in the internal control questionnaire, some of them might be applicable, yes or no, some of them might not be applicable. But when you prepare a 50 question long checklist, so the way it appears to the reader is that ये company में सब कुछ everything is working properly, and there are all of these controls present when in fact some of them might not be working, some of them might not even be required or present. क्योंकि checklist तो standard होता है ना. Like I can give you a checklist कि ऐसे 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 prepare करो, ठीक है? I give you that checklist. Now what you do with that later on is I have prepared that for PM, for example. Now and I have prepared that for PM saying that there are 30 MCQs. But आपने डबल ए का पेपर लिखा, उसमें तो 15 ही MCQs है. So when you look at a checklist which tells you कि ऐसे करो ऐसे करो ऐसे करो for 30 questions and you try to apply the same checklist for 15 questions, आपको लगेगा कि आप over prepared हो. But there is a possibility that you are not ready to tackle because it is not customized to you ना. It is prepared on a generic basis. So internal control questionnaires may overstate the control. Select whether the features of purchases and payroll systems described are a strength or deficiency of the internal control system. Goods are counted and agreed to the supplier's delivery note before signing the delivery note. अब goods received, you are counting with the supplier's delivery note. Supplier's delivery note के साथ तो match करेगा ही ना. It should actually be matched with the purchase order. What you have ordered versus what has been delivered to you, वो match होना चाहिए, right? So this is a deficiency. Control one that they have described is actually not a control, it's a deficiency. Why? Because you are you are mapping the goods that he delivered with the note that he sent, but you should match the goods that he delivered with the purchase order that you had placed. तो वो clearly deficiency है. Second one, purchase invoice is matched to and filed with related goods received note and purchase order by the purchase ledger team in the finance department. Isn't this like the three-way match? Purchase invoice, goods received note and purchase order, तीनों match हो रहा है ना? So this is a strength. Then payroll standing files are sent to departmental managers on a monthly basis to review. See, when you send it to departmental managers, they will ensure that correct details are entered. Every departmental manager will know कि मेरे टीम में कितने लोग हैं. So if you send him a list of 100 and there are only 98 people in his team, he will be the first one to find out, right? If you have made a list of 100 people and he has 103 people in his team, again he will be in a position to point out here three names are missing. So sending it to the departmental manager is in fact a strength. Then hours worked are entered into a pre-printed payroll sheet by the wages clerk. Pre-printed payroll sheet. ठीक है, pre-printed payroll sheet मतलब it's like your school report card. Your name is mentioned there, your roll number, class, division, everything is mentioned there. You only have to enter the marks secured. Similarly, here the name of the employee, employee code, shift timing, everything is entered. The person only has to enter the number of hours worked, है ना? So if अगर वो sheet में Karan, Akshat, Satyamed, and Sharmaji, and all of these names are there. ठीक है. And if somebody tries to add Zamzam's name to it, हाथ से लिखना पड़ेगा. If it is a pre-printed sheet, four names are present. If I am doing some fraud and I'm transferring the money through her, I will have to write her name with my hand and that will immediately become visible, right? Pre-printed sheet होगा, उसमें कोई भी addition किया, it will immediately be visible to the naked eye. So I will be able to catch that very quickly. So this is also a strength. ठीक है. Now, which of the following control objectives is addressed by feature number 5? Before payroll payments are made, the finance director reviews the bank transfer list and signs to authorize the payments to be made. ठीक है. To ensure payroll is classified correctly, to ensure only valid employees are paid, to ensure employees are paid for correct hours, to ensure employees' salaries have been calculated correctly. He reviews the bank transfer list and signs to authorize the payments to be made. ठीक है. He is reviewing the payment list. Is he checking the calculations यहाँ पे? No, he's checking the list. He's not checking the calculations. And why is he doing that? He wants to ensure that only valid employees are paid. Now, see, if you want to, whether payroll is classified correctly, matlab financial statements में, is it entered under the right heading? P&L account में this should go under salaries and wages, है ना? या फिर whatever head any item should go under, that is what we mean by classified correctly. So reviewing the bank transfer list is not helping you in classification. Ensure employees are paid for correct hours, इसके लिए बैंक ट्रांसफर लिस्ट नहीं, टाइम शीट चेक करना पड़ेगा, राइट? देन प्लस कैलकुलेशन चेक करना पड़ेगा. salaries have been calculated correctly, इसके लिए salary master, monthly hours, all of that will have to be checked. This control that we are talking about helps him ensuring that only the valid employees are paid. ठीक है. Now, you have reviewed the work of the audit junior and concluded that reliance can be placed on the internal controls. What impact will this have on the nature and extent of substantive audit procedures to be performed at the final audit? They are saying that reliance can be placed on internal controls. Less importance can be placed on written representations, greater use of test of detail and less use of analytical procedures, decreased sample size when performing substantive testing, increased use of evidence from outside the entity. Naturally, if you are saying that you can place reliance on internal controls, it is statement C. है ना? If controls are reliable, then you will controls are operating effectively. ठीक है, which means आपने कम टेस्टिंग किया तो भी चलेगा, है ना? So you are decreasing the sample size. If controls are non-existent, then you will have to increase the sample size and do more test of detail. Correct? If so, it has to be considered that way. And last one, the payroll section of the audit plan of postal company includes the following procedures. For each procedure, select whether it is a test of control or a substantive procedure. Recalculate the total of the bank transfer list. Substantive procedure basically has test of details and analytical procedure. What are test of details? Test of details are activities that you perform in order to verify values in the financial statements for material misstatement. When you are recalculating the total of bank transfer list, you are checking it for misstatement. It is a substantive procedure. Inspect the bank transfer list for evidence of finance director's signature confirming the payment. ठीक है, what you are doing is before the payment is made, it has to be approved slash authorized by an appropriate person. You are checking whether it was signed by that person, hence that is a test of control. ठीक है, for a sample of employees, agree the salary details in the standing data file to the calculation of employees monthly salary as per the payslip. ठीक है, so यहाँ पे आप क्या कर रहे हो? अगेन यू आर ट्राइंग टू वेरीफाई सर्टन वैल्यूज वेदर दे आर करेक्ट और नॉट इन द फाइनेंशियल स्टेटमेंट बाय टेकिंग आउट अ सैंपल. दिस इज ऑल्सो अ सब्सटैंटिव प्रोसीजर. And review the procedure to ensure payroll files and documents are kept secure and confidential. What you will do in this case is आप उसको बोलोगे चल फाइल दिखा. You will try to open the file. If it opens without a password, that means the control is not working. If it prompts you for a password, that means the control is working effectively. This is also a test of control. Are you with me, all of you?
Yes, sir.
Okay. See, answers तो चलो है, आपको पता है what are the answers. But I want you to get the logic in place कि मैं कौन से point पे कैसे पहुंचता हूँ. What is my thought process? Make a note of that thought process. I am telling you, आपका your confidence will surge like no one's business if you get the MCQ parts में अगर आपको confidence आ गया ना, तो आपका if you are able to get say out of 15, even if you are able to get 10 to 11 questions right, it acts as a huge confidence booster, right? Next one dekho. It is 1st of July. You are an audit supervisor with Lizzie and company, reviewing extracts from the sales and dispatch systems, documentation in preparation for interim audit. Year end is 30th September. Hailstorm Company manufactures snacks such as potato chips, which are supplied to large and small food retailer. Hailstorm Company has experienced significant growth over recent years, and in response to this growth, senior management has established an internal audit department to improve the control environment of the company. You are a member of the recently formed internal audit department. Senior management of Hailstorm has concerns about the effectiveness of company's sales and dispatch system. ठीक है, and has instructed internal audit department to perform a review of system. Any deficiencies identified are reported to the finance director. किस सिस्टम में प्रॉब्लम है? सेल्स एंड डिस्पैच सिस्टम में प्रॉब्लम है. Who are they reporting to? They are reporting to the finance director, who will report the findings back to the board at the next board meeting. The recommendations for improvements are also to be provided. During the review, following deficiencies were identified. चार प्रॉब्लम थे. Availability of inventory is not checked until at the time of ordering. यार ये तो बहुत बड़ा इशू है. You might have a situation of stockouts in this case. Telephone orders are initially noted on a piece of paper and then transferred to an order form after the call has ended. Very good. If you are someone like me, फोन पे बात हो रही है, किसी ने बोला 500 कॉपीज, मैंने लिखा 5000 कॉपीज, और बाय द टाइम आई गो एंड पंच उसके बीच में 10 रील देख लिए, वहां पे जाके लिख दिया 50,000 कॉपीज. हो गया काम खत्म. Order forms are not sequentially numbered, so not possible to track. And online ordering system allows customers to place orders which exceed their credit limit. यहाँ पे क्या प्रॉब्लम है? You know that Satyam's credit limit is 50,000, मतलब उसको 50,000 तक के goods you can sell on credit, उससे ज्यादा दिया तो उसका औकात नहीं है to pay back, and yet the system is allowing you to do that. ये भी problem है. Which of the following is not an objective of Hailstorm Company's sale and dispatch system? To ensure that orders are only accepted if goods are available, to ensure that all orders are recorded completely and accurately, to ensure discounts received are accounted for completely and accurately, and to ensure that all goods dispatched are correctly invoiced. यार डिस्काउंट्स रिसीव्ड का तो सप्लायर के साथ रिलेशनशिप है, राइट, नॉट विद द कस्टमर. वेरी क्लियरली दिस इज नॉट योर आंसर. ठीक है. मैच द कंट्रोल डेफिशिएंसीज टू एन अप्रोप्रिएट एक्सप्लेनेशन ऑफ द इशू. डेफिशिएंसी वन, अवेलेबिलिटी ऑफ इन्वेंट्री इज नॉट चेक्ड. ठीक है. टेलीफोन ऑर्डर्स आर इनिशियली नोटेड ऑन अ पीस ऑफ पेपर, ऑर्डर फॉर्म्स एंड ऑनलाइन ऑर्डरिंग सिस्टम. ठीक है. और वेरी क्लियरली इफ आई सी रिस्क फोर ना, जो रिस्क फोर है, आई थिंक दैट रिलेट्स विथ व्हाट, बैड डेट्स.
B.
है ना, ये तो क्लियर हो गया. बैड डेट्स टैकल्ड एंड this tackled. Then third one, order forms not sequentially numbered. तो क्या होगा?
D.
Orders में go missing leading to unfulfilled orders, right? थ्री का ऑप्शन डी. Then telephone orders are initially noted on a piece of paper and then transferred to an order form. Statement 2, incorrect order can be dispatched. Correct?
A.
है ना, incorrect order can be dispatched, and naturally one has to be then. What is one? Availability of inventory is not checked. Risk of orders not being fulfilled on a timely basis. आपने ऑर्डर एक्सेप्ट कर लिया, स्टॉक में है ही नहीं मटेरियल, तो फिर रोते रहो. है ना, इट हैपेंस विथ अ लॉट ऑफ एजुकेशन कंपनीज ऑल्सो. आपको बोलते हैं अरे 15 दिन में तुमको मिल जाएगा बुक्स, इन्वेंट्री में होता नहीं है, बुक बना भी नहीं होता है, फिर प्रिंटिंग करने बैठेंगे, बनाने बैठेंगे, आपको लग गए 2 महीने, तब तक आपका अटेम्प्ट हो गया.
Yes,
वेरी
sir.
कॉमन. वाई? फेलियर ऑफ इंटरनल कंट्रोल्स, राइट. अब इसमें लेट्स नॉट गेट इनटू किसका गलती है, बट गलती तो है. They should have an internal audit department to do that. Karan knows all the jokes. Very good, Karan.
Me also.
Very good, Sukhant. I'm not saying anything beyond this now. Which two of the following are appropriate recommendations to address the credit limit system deficiency? Credit limit system deficiency मतलब सत्यमेत को there is a, based on his past performance, based on his past track record, you have come to a conclusion कि 50,000 का ही credit देना, but you give a higher credit to him. What will happen as a consequence? He will not be able to either pay on time or he will not pay at all, and risk of bad debts will go up. Which two are appropriate recommendations? Credit limits should be reviewed by a responsible official on a regular basis and amended as appropriate. ठीक है. Then sales order clerk should be allowed to use discretion. No, no, no. They should never be given that freedom. Otherwise वो कुछ भी कर लेंगे. Then online ordering system should be programmed to allow orders up to a maximum of 5% in excess of credit limit. No, excess of credit limit में order आना ही नहीं चाहिए. Ideally, what happens is when you reach 90% of the credit limit ना, the system should start giving you a warning. अब जैसे कभी मेरे credit card पे if my spending is more than 60% of the total outstanding na, I start getting messages, you have exceeded 60%, you have exceeded 60%. They want to stop that from happening. Credit limits getting reviewed on a regular basis is an appropriate recommendation. There is a possibility here you get downgraded in the process, right? Then orders which could cause a customer to exceed their credit limit should be sent to a responsible official for approval. Yes. So exceptional cases में the lower level employee should not decide. You should forward it to an appropriate person at the higher level so that he can decide based on facts of the case. So 1 and 4 are good enough controls. Which of the following recommendations should be made to address deficiencies in 2 and 3? Telephone orders noted on a piece of paper, order forms not sequentially numbered. Order clerk should have online access to view real-time inventory quantities at the time of ordering. No, ये जो recommendation है ना, they should have access to real-time inventory. It is for this. Availability of inventory is not checked at the time of ordering. Before accepting a customer order, they should be able to view on their screen कि godown में कितना stock पड़ा है. So this is not your answer. Now, to save time in the exam, eliminate all those answers which have statement 1. तो 1 and 2 हट गया, 1, 3 and 4 हट गया. Now to save time in the exam, observe the two options 2 and 3, 2, 3 and 4. मतलब 2 and 3 पक्का करेक्ट है ना. सिर्फ 4 को इवेल्युएट करना है. What is 4? 4 says customer should be instructed not to place orders by telephone. ऐसे थोड़ी चलेगा यार. You will lose your business, so this is also wrong. Order should be entered directly into the ordering system as the customer is placing the order. Yes. Order form should be sequentially pre-numbered and a regular sequence check should be performed. This is also correct. So 2 and 3. See, exact right now, of course, because we are discussing, I will discuss all the 4 options, but you won't have so much time in the paper. So आपको you will have to find out ways in which you can save time. So method of elimination helps there also. ठीक है? Now, which of the following statements is true in respect of the review findings? The findings will be communicated to shareholders at the AGM. पागल नहीं है हम to tell this to the shareholders. The recommendations will need to be actioned before the external audit commences? Not necessarily. And even if they are action, it will be in the future. Now, controls जो आप set करेंगे, that will be for the future. जो past का गलती है वो तो है. The directors, the findings should be reported directly to the board of directors. Yes. Don't talk to the finance director. Talk either to the audit committee or to the board of directors. Finance director is not the right person. Findings should be discussed with external auditor before being communicated. No. External auditor के साथ discuss करने का कोई role नहीं है यहाँ पे. See, external auditor will ask for the report made by the internal audit team that has to be given to him. But findings are not supposed to be discussed with the external auditor. ठीक है? The only sensible answer is option C. Are you with me?
I
Every
am not communicated. So first option के लिए में क्या बोले?
you see, deficiencies cannot be communicated to shareholders, ना? Shareholders को आप सिर्फ see what is communicated to the shareholders, a report on the financial statements of the company, which is the statutory audit report. ये internal operations of the company पे है ना. This should go to the directors, not to the shareholders.
Okay, sir. Got it.
ठीक है. Now, अपने लाइफ में और तो एंटरटेनमेंट है नहीं, तो हम अलग अलग कलर से यूज करते हैं. और क्या करेंगे? It is 1st of July 2005. You are an audit supervisor with Marigold and Company, reviewing extracts from documentation describing Primrose Company's sales, inventory, and purchasing systems in preparation for interim audit. The company's year end is 30th September. Primrose Company has recently upgraded its computer system to enable greater automation of transaction processing. The new system has integrated the sales, inventory, and purchasing systems, resulting in minimal manual inventory. Sales orders are entered into the system manually. Inventory system is automatically updated to reflect the inventory. To reflect that inventory has been allocated to an order. The system will flag if there is insufficient inventory to fulfill the order. System पे एक pop-up आ जाएगा. The inventory system is linked to the purchasing system so that when inventory falls to a minimum level, a purchase order is automatically created and sent to the purchasing manager for authorization. It's like मेरे घर में आटा कम हो गया. I have, some sort of Internet of Things wala system. It goes below a particular level. Automatically, it sends an order. It places an order with Swiggy Instamart, sends a message to me for entering the OTP. Payment happens and the material is delivered. Something like this. Once the manager clicks authorize, the order is automatically sent electronically to the approved supplier for that item. The system is backed up daily to ensure minimal loss of data in the event of a system failure. है ना? System is backed up daily. Primrose Company's internal auditors were present during the implementation of the new system and performed tests during the process to ensure that information transferred into the new system was free from error. The internal audit plan of work has been updated to include regular tests of systems throughout the year to ensure it is working effectively. ठीक है. Marigold and company is planning to use automated tools and techniques during the audit for the first time this year as a result of the new system, and is also planning to use the work of Primrose company's internal audit department if possible. ठीक है. Which of the following is not a test of control in respect of Primrose company's system? Trace a sample of purchase orders through to an approved supplier list to ensure that the supplier is approved. Trace a sales order through the system and into the detailed sales listing to ensure it is recorded. Review a sample of purchase orders to the system in the system to ensure they are authorized within the system. Instant Inspect copies of the backups taken to ensure they are taken on a daily basis. Which of the following is not a test of control? ठीक है. Reviewing a sample of purchase orders to see that they are authorized. Basically, you are checking whether the authorization control is operating effectively. This is a test of control. Okay. Then inspect copies of backups to ensure these are taken on a daily basis. The company says that we take backups on a daily basis. This is to prevent data loss. You should physically inspect from the server कि यार everyday backup available है कि नहीं है. Dated backups should be there. So again, this statement is this is actually a test of control. It might be a it's more of a preventive activity that you are doing, and then of course you will recommend something. Then trace a sales order through to the system and into the detailed sales listing to ensure that it is recorded. ठीक है. Tracing a transaction through the system to ensure that it is recorded in the sales file. It is a substantive procedure, and what is it doing? It is helping you to test completeness. कि every sales order is it recorded in the detailed sales listing. तो ये substantive procedure है which helps you to ensure completeness. You remember the financial statement assertions, right? It helps you to check completeness. So this is not a test of control. Trace a sample of purchase orders to the approved supplier list to ensure that the supplier is approved. Basically, आप ये check कर रहे हो कि the organization says that whenever an order is placed, it automatically goes to the approved supplier. This is what they are saying. See, ideally, अगर approved supplier नहीं होगा, तो what will happen is, orders will be placed with even those suppliers with whom you have not negotiated the rate, और there is a possibility कि यार वो अपने किसी relative के साथ ही order place कर देगा and he will make profit in the process, which is why that approved supplier list is important. When you are checking whether each supplier is an approved supplier, you are verifying the control. So statement 1 is also a test of control. Statement 2 is not. ठीक है. Select whether the following controls identified in Primrose Company's systems are general or information processing controls. Daily backup, authorization, minimum order quantity, automatic updating of inventory once goods are sold. ठीक है. Daily backup of the system, what is it?
General.
Because it relates to not just accounting, right? It relates to everything. It is a general control. Authorization of purchase orders is happening within the system. Information processing control. Minimum order quantity का जो see there is a limit that has been put in place कि if the inventory level goes below this, an order will automatically get triggered, and how many units are ordered each time an order is placed, that is the minimum order quantity that you are working on. This is also configured in the system. This is an information processing control. Automatic updation of inventory once goods are sold is also an information processing control. Backup क्या है? Backup relates to the whole computer system, but authorization of minimum order quantity, sorry, authorization, then minimum order quantity, then automatic update of inventory. It relates to processing of information. कोई information आपके पास आता है, you see when you say authorization of purchase orders, वो check करेगा ना what is the item being ordered, how many quantities are being ordered, who is ordering, have they mentioned the purpose for placing an order, ये सारा कुछ वो check करेगा, right? So he's checking it before, so the data is being processed first. Maybe a person is not checking it, but you have put in certain parameters in the system. Key, if a clerk level person is placing an order, he cannot place an order for more than 100. So if Karan is a junior executive and he places an order for 200, system automatically usko reject kar dega. That is, system is authorizing the purchase. It is authorization of POs. Again, it is an information processing control. ठीक है. Then, which of the following procedures provides the most reliable evidence that inventory system updates automatically once an order has been received. ठीक है. Review the inventory level of an item, enter a sales order into the system and review the inventory level again after the order has been placed. Count a sample of items of inventory in the warehouse and agree the quantities to the quantities stated in the inventory system. Review the inventory report detailing quantities of items to identify unusually high or low quantities. Contact a sample of customers to inquire whether they have experienced delays in orders being processed due to insufficient inventory being held. Very clearly, what they want to check is, does the system get updated automatically once the order has been received? The answer is, what is option one saying कि कोई order आया आप punch करो. See, after the order gets processed, is the inventory level down? So this will help you to understand whether system update is happening automatically or not, right? Which can be tested by placing a dummy sales order for a large quantity of goods into the system. ठीक है. The inventory system is automatically updated to reflect that inventory has been allocated to a sales order. Yes. आप जब बड़ा sales order का डेटा डालोगे, you press enter. उसके बाद after you place enter, the count of items in the inventory system should go down by 100. So this helps you to reflect the inventory level. The system will flag if there is insufficient inventory to order. Bada order hai, you press enter. There are only 80 units in the warehouse, you place an order for 100. If it is giving you that pop up on screen here, we don't have enough units in the system, then this is system flagging if there is insufficient inventory. Then when inventory falls to a minimum level, a purchase order is automatically created, sent to the purchasing manager. See, when you place a large order, there is a possibility ki fatak se, your entire inventory value quantity will go down. If it goes below the level, then when creating this dummy sales order, it will also help you to check whether the order is automatically created for authorization. ये भी होगा. And purchase order is automatically sent electronically to the approved supplier for that item. ये भी आपका वेरीफाई होगा कि यार when the purchase order is created, does it go to the authorized supplier or it goes to a random supplier? तो ये चारों पॉइंट्स आपके चेक होंगे by placing a dummy sales order for a large quantity of goods. Do you agree?
Yes, sir.
देखो एक बार अच्छे से.
चेंज ऑर्डर पर बिना ऑथराइजेशन के पहुंच चले जाएगा.
I beg your pardon?
So without any authorization, the purchase order will not go through,
यार
right?
your voice is echoing, सुनाई नहीं दे रहा है.
Hello? Can you hear me, sir?
थोड़ा बेटर.
Pray for you.
सर, मैं कह रहा हूँ कि परचेज ऑर्डर हमारे बिना ऑथराइजेशन के पड़ जाएगा तो भी सप्लायर के पास. उसमें आपको
Again problem. Can't hear.
एयरपोर्ट्स उतार के.
Maybe you can.
हेलो.
Yeah, it's better now.
बेटर.
Yeah.
सर मैं कह रहा हूँ कि परचेज ऑर्डर हमारा बिना ऑथराइजेशन की थोड़ी चले जाएगा, सप्लायर के पास चले जाएगा क्या ऐसा?
वही तो चेक करना है ना. वही तो ये हेल्प करेगा आपको चेक करने में, राइट? कि अगर ऑटोमेटिकली जा रहा है तो दैट्स अ प्रॉब्लम, राइट?
या तो इसीलिए आपने टिक किया कि वो रिव्यू कर रहा है कि अगर जा रहा है तो प्रॉब्लम है.
सो इफ इट इज गोइंग देन दैट्स अ कंट्रोल फेलियर ना. जाना ही नहीं चाहिए अनलेस इट इज अप्रूव्ड, राइट? Is automatically sent electronically to the approved supplier. It should not be sent automatically unless it is approved. Correct? Then, see, but in questions like these, if you get 3 out of 4 right, you will get 1.5. But in questions like these, which two of the following procedures should be performed? जब two of the following पूछा और आपने एक ही one correct one incorrect लिखा तो 0 मिलेगा. But यहाँ पे for every correct answer you will get 0.5. ठीक है? Which two of the following procedures should be performed by Marigold and Company to identify whether the work of Primrose Company's internal audit department can be relied upon? Review the internal auditor's working papers to ensure sufficient appropriate evidence has been obtained. Engage an independent expert to assess the new system and validate the reliability of the internal audit department's work. Re-perform a sample of procedures performed by the internal auditor to ensure that the same conclusion is reached. Yes, this can definitely help, है ना? कि he performed a particular procedure, you also perform the same procedure. See if you are reaching the same conclusion. If that is so, then statement 3 is right. Assess whether Primrose Company has an audit committee in place responsible for overseeing the internal audit function. If so, the external auditor can rely on the work performed by the internal auditor uh, without the need for further work. No, definitely not. Audit committee से क्या होगा? You have to check it personally, right? Engaging an independent expert is not helping here. Controls को तो आपको ही टेस्ट करना पड़ेगा. Review the working papers to check whether he has obtained sufficient appropriate audit evidence. This is right. ठीक है.
सर वो मतलब ऑडिट कमेटी में सर 3 वो भी तो होते हैं नॉन एग्जीक्यूटिव डायरेक्टर्स.
नॉन एग्जीक्यूटिव होते हैं, बट जस्ट having an audit committee doesn't mean ना कि the internal audit team has performed its job correctly. I agree that there are experts sitting in the audit team.
ओके.
Audit team में experts जरूर होते हैं, but is it helping you to solve the problem? No, ना.
यस.
ठीक है.
यस सर.
Now, slightly longer. It is 1st of July 2005. Shroom Company is a manufacturer of vegetarian food including ready meals and plant-based sausages and burgers, which it supplies to large grocery chains across the country. The company has grown significantly over the last 5 years, with revenue increasing by 50%. Its year end is 31st of July 2005. You work in the internal audit department of Shroom Company, which performs periodic reviews of internal controls, assesses the risk management processes of the company, and performs fraud investigation when applicable. The following areas have been reviewed by the internal audit department over the last 3 years. Non-current asset revenue 2005, 2004 में purchase payroll, 2003 में inventory cash. You are reviewing the internal controls over non-current assets and asset expenditure of the company, which were last reviewed in 2002. ठीक है. You have been provided with the following information relating to the non-current asset cycle. Shroom Company prepares a rolling 5-year asset expenditure budget, which is updated annually by the Asset Expenditure Committee. The committee has 3 members. Each year, the heads of the department meet with the committee to discuss asset requirements for the budget period. All assets purchased must be included in the budget except in exceptional circumstances for which there is a contingency fund set aside. When asset expenditure is required, the relevant department head must send a requisition to the committee with quotations from at least 2 suppliers. The requisition is approved by the committee if the items requested are included in the budget and the quotation is acceptable. The approval is noted in the minutes of the meeting. A copy of approved requisition form is sent to the purchasing department, where a purchasing order is complete and a copy of the approved requisition is kept with the order. They are talking about control. Requisition approved by the committee if the items are included in the budget. तो committee check करेगा whether जो आइटम आपने ऑर्डर किया है इज इट इंक्लूडेड इन द बजट और नॉट. लाइक दिस ईयर योर पेरेंट्स हैव सेट अ बजट ऑफ 50,000 फॉर यू ऑर्डर द न्यू आईफोन वर्थ 80,000. दे विल से नॉट इन द बजट, आपका रिक्वेस्ट ही डिनाई हो जाएगा. द अप्रूवल इज नोटेड इन द मिनट्स ऑफ द मीटिंग. ग्रेट. कॉपी ऑफ अप्रूव्ड requisition is sent to purchasing department where a PO is prepared. Copy of approved requisition is kept with the order so that you know कि यार जो ऑर्डर प्लेस किया है उसका सपोर्टिंग डॉक्यूमेंट आपके पास है कि नहीं. Is there an approval in place? Before the order is placed, purchasing director must agree the order details to the approved requisition and sign the purchase order as evidence of the check. एक और control establish हो गया. On receipt, मतलब he is checking requisition and then placing an order. On receipt of goods, the GRN is completed. Each asset is checked to the authorized PO, very good, and checked for condition, and evidence of these checks is noted in GRN. So जो order किया वही deliver हुआ, you are checking that. Each asset is assigned a unique serial number which is recorded on the asset and written on the GRN. ठीक है. अब this is identification, asset tagging that we are talking about. The asset is added to the non-current asset register. GRN is forwarded to finance team. Non-current asset register contains a description of asset, serial number, the code that you have allocated, cost to be capitalized, expected useful value, purchase date, department and location where it is placed, estimated residual value. Non-current asset register is password protected and only a small number of people in the finance department know the password. Fair enough. On a quarterly basis, the management accounts detail the total asset expenditure incurred and the amount budgeted for the period with explanations of any variances greater than 5%. So variance analysis भी हो रहा है. Over a year, the internal audit department agrees the physical assets to the asset register to ensure that the register is complete. उल्टा भी तो चेक होना चाहिए आइडियली यार. शीट फ्लोर टू शीट टेस्ट होता है, शीट टू फ्लोर भी टेस्ट होना चाहिए. फिजिकल असेट्स टू असेट रजिस्टर इज फ्लोर टू शीट एंड asset register to फिजिकल थिंग इज शीट टू फ्लोर. तो दोनों टेस्ट आपके आइडियली होने चाहिए बट वी डोंट नो व्हाट details are there in the question now. Which two of the following control objectives are addressed by the work of the asset expenditure committee? ठीक है. Now what is this asset expenditure committee? To ensure assets purchased are authorized, then to ensure assets purchased are for a valid business use, to ensure non-current asset register is complete. ये asset committee का काम नहीं है. Non-current asset is complete ये check करना किसका काम है? ये finance department का काम है, right? This is definitely not an answer for you. To ensure all assets purchased are given a unique serial number, no. Again not connected. एक बार इधर आओ. uh, Heads of the committee meet to discuss asset requirements for the budget. All assets purchased must be included in the budget except in exceptional circumstances for which there is a contingency fund set aside. ठीक है. अब is it helping you to ensure that assets purchased are for valid business use? See, authorization ka control also has got nothing to do with the asset committee. Asset committee is basically trying to check what कि यार is it allocated for the right purposes, right? है ना? Is it required by the company in the first place or not? So 2 and 4. बाकी के जो options है those are they are controls but they are controls in a different department. ठीक है. And these are specifically related to the asset expenditure committee. For each of the controls given below, select the type of control activity described. The internal audit department agrees the physical assets to the asset register to ensure completeness. Variances between actual and budgeted expenditure are analyzed in the quarterly management accounts. Non-current asset register is password protected. Non-current asset register is password protected is a physical or logical control. Variances between actual and budgeted expenditure are analyzed in quarterly management accounts is a verification control. And internal audit department agrees the physical assets to the asset register to ensure completeness is reconciliation. जो physical quantity है is the same quantity entered in your books of accounts and in the asset register you are reconciling the two. Reconciliation. Password protection is an access physical or logical access control, that is okay. Variances between actual and budgeted expenditure are analyzed. You might be tempted to call it reconciliation. आपके मन में आ सकता है कि यार if you are doing variance analysis shouldn't we call it reconciliation? The answer is no. See, reconciliation आप करते हो to match two items. You want to ensure that यहाँ पे जो लिखा है वो यहाँ पे लिखा है. Here when you are doing variance analysis you are trying to find out कि the expenditure that was incurred uh, was it more or less as compared to the number that had been allocated for this purpose? Correct. तो आप ये verify कर रहे हो कि the number actually incurred was it less or more as compared to the budgeted amount that was given to you. तो ये reconciliation नहीं है, reconciliation matching के टाइम होता है. When you want to find out कि ये और ये match हो रहा है कि नहीं हो रहा है, उसके बाद जो आएगा वो variance होगा, है ना? You do reconciliation, it doesn't match. Then the next step is variance. You try to find out कि ये क्यों नहीं हुआ, why is it not matching? That is verification stage. यहाँ पे reconciliation मत लिखना, ठीक है? very easy to get carried away in the second one. I think first and third are फिर भी, even I think first में भी गलती होने का chance है. You see that they are trying to match the physical assets to ensure completeness, you will think it is verification. है ना? आपके दिमाग में आएगा कि ये असेट है कि नहीं, वो वेरीफाई करने का कोशिश कर रहा है. वो वेरीफाई करने का कोशिश नहीं कर रहा है, वो मैच करने का कोशिश कर रहा है. व्हाट इज गिवन हियर, व्हाट आई कैन सी फिजिकली, डू आई ऑल्सो सी दैट इन द नॉन करंट असेट रजिस्टर? ये मैच हो रहा है कि नहीं हो रहा है? मैचिंग इज रिकंसिलिएशन, मैचिंग इज नॉट वेरिफिकेशन. ठीक है, कीप दैट इन माइंड. Which three of the following documents together provide persuasive evidence that assets purchased during the year have been authorized? Requisition, order, GRN, non-current asset register, minutes of the meeting. Which of these state that the purchase has been authorized? Minutes of asset expenditure committee meeting, ये definitely आएगा. So all the options which do not contain statement 5 वो हटा दो. ये हट गया, ये हट गया. 3 4 5 1 2 5. अब चेक करना पड़ेगा. Purchase requisition. Which three of the following documents provide persuasive evidence that assets purchased have been authorized? Purchase requisition से authorization पता नहीं चलता है. Purchase requisition will help you to understand that is it ऑर्डर्ड एज पर द एलोकेटेड नंबर. एक साल का आपको बजट दिया गया है. हैव यू ऑर्डर्ड विद इन दैट बजट एंड इज द कोटेशन एक्सेप्टेबल? ठीक है, वही चेक हो रहा है यहाँ पे. नथिंग एल्स इज गेटिंग चेक्ड. इट इज नॉट चेकिंग वेदर द मैनेजर अप्रूव्ड द परचेस, सो वन कैन नॉट बी इंक्लूडेड. चेकिंग द परचेस ऑर्डर से क्या मिलेगा आपको? इफ यू चेक द परचेस ऑर्डर, you will get to know कि यार was this purchase order placed with the authorized supplier maybe. Then goods received note and non-current asset register. How will 3 and 4 help? Tell me.
Goods received note will be completed only when the asset is like when only when we will receive the asset.
Ideally, what is GRN matched with? Purchase order. And purchase order has to be a verified purchase order or authorized purchase order rather. आपको क्या चेक करना है कि द गुड्स रिसीव नोट में जो भी आपने नंबर एंटर किया है, डज इट मैच एग्जैक्टली विद द अमाउंट इन द परचेस ऑर्डर, क्वांटिटी इन द परचेस ऑर्डर. बट वो परचेस ऑर्डर पे सिग्नेचर और स्टैम्प भी तो होना चाहिए ना, ऑफ द अप्रोप्रिएट पर्सन इन्वॉल्व. ओनली देन. सी, दो परचेस ऑर्डर है. इट्स लाइक somebody tells you at school कि you got less marks, पेरेंट्स का सिग्नेचर लेके आओ या पेरेंट्स को दिखा के आओ. इफ यू गो, यू शो इट टू द पेरेंट, यू ब्रिंग इट टू स्कूल एंड से चलो पेरेंट्स को दिखा दिया, व्हाई विल द टीचर बिलीव यू? वोंट शी से इस पे सिग्नेचर लाओ अपने पेरेंट का, right? So for that, see, that is the kind of control we are talking about. How do you know whether it is verified? When somebody has signed it ना. GRN को किसके साथ मैप करना पड़ेगा? ऑथराइज्ड पीओ के साथ मैप करना पड़ेगा, अप्रूव्ड पीओ के साथ मैप करना पड़ेगा. करेक्ट. अब ये बताइए, ठीक है, इसको देखो. requisition इज अप्रूव्ड बाय whom? सी, requisition को अप्रूवल लगता है कि बिना अप्रूवल के हो जाता है? The question is asking you is which of the following relates to authorization? Requisition ऐसे ही process हो जाएगा कि somebody will check and approve it. What do you think?
Sir, someone will check, I think.
Someone
Requisition
will
also.
check, which means requisition is also a part of the approval authorization system. इधर भी approval चाहिए. Then order. कोई भी, जैसे मैंने बोला, any random order will not work ना. Random order will not work. It has to be signed. So order is also there. See, GRN में authorization control नहीं है. GRN is checked against an authorized purchase order. GRN को authorize नहीं कर रहा है कोई. GRN is getting checked against an authorized PO. नॉन करंट असेट रजिस्टर में तो कोई ऑथराइजेशन रिलेटेड काम है ही नहीं. दिस इज आउट. दिस इज आउट. See, your hint should come from the fact that here they are talking about requisition is approved by the committee, which means like authorization slash approval control is present here. Do you agree? ठीक है, so answer is D, 1 to 5. ठीक है. Which of the following is not a test of control the external auditor of shroom company may perform in relation to non-current assets? Not a test of control the external auditor of shroom company may perform. Inspect a sample of assets purchased during the year for a serial number and trace this to the non-current asset register. Review a sample of goods received note for evidence and check against PO. C. Not a test of control in relation to non-current assets. Compare actual asset expenditure with budgeted asset expenditure during the year and investigate variances greater than 5%. Review the internal audit working papers documenting the reconciliation of physical assets with the non-current asset register. I think very clearly ये तो कोई test of control नहीं है ना. See, when you review that the internal audit working papers documenting the reconciliation of physical assets with the non-current asset register, आपको क्या ensure करना है? You have to ensure that जितने physical asset है उतने register में है, जितने register में है उतने physically है. ये आपको ensure करना है. करेक्ट. अब उसके लिए इंटरनल ऑडिटर हैज डन दिस रिकंसिलिएशन, यू आर चेकिंग दैट दैट इज अ टेस्ट ऑफ कंट्रोल. आपका ऑब्जेक्टिव फुलफिल हो रहा है. सैंपल ऑफ गुड्स रिसीव नोट फॉर एविडेंस अगेंस्ट पीओ एंड कंडीशन. व्हाट यू आर ट्राइंग टू चेक इज जितने गुड्स ऑर्डर किए वर दे द ones that were ordered. You are checking it for a sample. You are checking whether the control is operating effectively at the time of recording the GRN. This is also a test of control. Inspecting a sample of assets purchased during the year for a serial number and tracing this to the non-current asset register कि जो असेट परचेज किया वो नॉन करंट असेट रजिस्टर में आता है कि नहीं आता है. ये जो आपका चेक करने का काम है दैट इज ऑल्सो अ टेस्ट ऑफ कंट्रोल. बिकॉज आपको क्या चेक करना है कि यार एवरी आइटम दैट इज परचेज शुड बी एंटर्ड इन द रजिस्टर, राइट. उसको सीरियल नंबर होना चाहिए. नाउ यू आर चेकिंग आउट अ सैंपल विच मीन्स यू आर इवेल्युएटिंग और इंस्पेक्टिंग वेदर ये जो सारे स्टेप्स है ना ये बराबर से परफॉर्म हुए कि नहीं हुए. सो दिस इज ऑल्सो अ टेस्ट ऑफ कंट्रोल. ओनली स्टेटमेंट 3 इज नॉट अ टेस्ट ऑफ कंट्रोल. डू यू अग्री? यहां पे कोई कंट्रोल नहीं चेक हो रहा है ना.
चेक हो रहा है.
कहाँ चेक हो रहा है?
वैसे कंपेयर कर रहे हैं ना वो, तो
कंपेयर
उसमें
कर
कुछ
रहे
है नहीं ऐसा एज अ सच.
हैं. विच इज द क्वेश्चन ना, विच ऑफ द फॉलोइंग इज नॉट अ टेस्ट ऑफ कंट्रोल. पहले एक टेस्ट ऑफ
ये सब्सटैंटिव प्रोसीजर्स होता ना सर,
ये
अगर हो.
दिस इज बेसिकली एनालिटिकल प्रोसीजर. मतलब एनालिटिकल प्रोसीजर इज अ पार्ट ऑफ सब्सटैंटिव प्रोसीजर, राइट. सब्सटैंटिव प्रोसीजर में दो चीजें आती है, एनालिटिकल प्रोसीजर एंड टेस्ट ऑफ डिटेल्स, है ना. अब यहाँ पे तो कोई आप बस वेरिएंस चेक कर रहे हो ना, आप ट्रेंड रेशोज ये सब चेक कर रहे हो. यहाँ पे उसका कोई रोल नहीं है. ठीक है. द एक्सटर्नल ऑडिटर हैज दिस ईयर एक्सप्रेस्ड एन इंटरेस्ट इन यूजिंग सम इंडिविजुअल्स फ्रॉम श्रूम कंपनीज इंटरनल ऑडिट डिपार्टमेंट टू प्रोवाइड डायरेक्ट असिस्टेंस विद एक्सटर्नल ऑडिट प्रोसीजर. ठीक है. फॉर विच ऑफ द फॉलोइंग एरियाज वुड इट बी अप्रोप्रिएट फॉर इंटरनल ऑडिट टू प्रोवाइड डायरेक्ट असिस्टेंस? Assessing controls over non-current asset, revenue recognition, valuation of inventory, performing cash counts. So internal auditor किस चीज में हेल्प कर सकता है is what they are asking. See, the external auditor can ask the internal auditor to do some work for him, है ना. But he cannot assign a work to the internal auditor which involves either significant judgment or there is a high risk of material misstatement involved. Revenue recognition बहुत risky area है बॉस. ये आप इंटरनल ऑडिटर को नहीं दे सकते. असेसिंग कंट्रोल ओवर नॉन करंट असेट वो तो उसका काम ही है, उसको फिर से क्या देंगे आप. वैल्यूएशन ऑफ इन्वेंट्री, इन्वेंट्री इज अगेन अ वेरी क्रिटिकल आइटम इन द फाइनेंशियल स्टेटमेंट्स, वो तुमको ही करना है. डू नॉट एलोकेट दैट टू समवन. हाई रिस्क एरिया प्लस रिस्क ऑफ मटेरियल मिसस्टेटमेंट है. परफॉर्मिंग कैश काउंट्स इज द लीस्ट प्रॉब्लमैटिक एरिया फॉर द कंपनी, राइट. मतलब इसमें मिसस्टेटमेंट का चांस कम बिकॉज फिजिकल वेरिफिकेशन ऑफ कैश व्हेन इट इज डन यू कैन एनी टाइम क्रॉस वेरीफाई इट इमीडिएटली. सो ऑप्शन बी मेक सेंस. यहाँ पे कोई जजमेंट भी नहीं है ना. रेवेन्यू रिकॉग्निशन में जजमेंट आएगा, यहाँ पे देयर इज नो जजमेंट इन्वॉल्व. सो दिस बिकम्स रिलेटिवली इजियर फॉर अस, राइट. ओके, कूल.